Hey, how's it going, folks? Today I want to talk about what every gamer can learn from the streamer Queso, the popular streamer Queso on Twitch. He's got 10 million subscribers on YouTube. He's huge, and he's a hugely entertaining streamer too. I love watching him. He's popular for good reason. He's a very talented entertainer. He's got a really colorful, unique voice, a good he's got an interesting worldview, right? He's funny, but he's also got an offbeat way of looking at things. He's joked that he's like sort of got a philosophical streak to him. Sometimes he spouts pseudoscience about the food he eats and says, "Oh, he likes to eat beef ramen with hot sauce in it, and that will cure all ailments, and better than going to the doctor." And obviously, like some of this is like a bit of maybe it's a bit of a character, maybe it's eccentricity, but the guy is so endlessly watchable and entertaining. I find myself watching him every week a few times. If I miss a stream, I'll probably watch a YouTube video of at least like the horror game that he streamed that night, once or twice a week. And I think that he has so much to offer kind of in terms of his perspective about the medium, about streaming, about games as a consumer. God forbid we talk about things like a consumer. I try to avoid that sort of angle, but he follows developers, right? He gives credit where credit's due. And like when he plays a game, he says, he usually starts there. He starts by saying, this developer made this other game and I played it 3 years ago and I thought that was XYZ. I thought that game was good. And so the reason I'm checking out their new game, Axe Murderer in the Hills 7 is because they did this, Purple Mist of Doom 2 years ago and I really enjoyed that one. And those are totally made up awful titles, but you get the point. He he follows devs, and then number 2, he follows his own curiosity about games. So he's, playing stuff that he thinks is gonna appeal to him and appeal to, of course, his audience. He's performing on Twitch, but I think that a lot of people could learn from just those 2 things, right? Like, acknowledge the reality that, you know, these this particular team of people made the game from this sort of context or perspective, a small size team from maybe a certain, culture, or maybe they were making the game in a war zone or whatever. Maybe the game is translated from another language and poorly so at that. All that stuff is like important context when you're going into a game to play it as a fan, to review it, to stream it, whatever. Have your own curiosity about these things. And point number 3 here that I think I've really taken from Queso personally, embrace the jank. Okay. I first heard the term jank as a Magic the Gathering player about 12 years ago. I had a deck box, a Velcro deck box that I put like one of my commander decks in, and it said like pure jank on it. And of course, we know now that that's a popular term that means, it's sort of like a shitty, there's like a connotation of like junk, right? Jank, junk. Um, every game is sort of like a collection of trash glued together with and with duct tape, right? Everything is kind of kit bashed from old technology, old or new assets, maybe old and new assets. I mean, look at a game like Fallout New Vegas, right? One of the most beloved and great, brilliant games ever made. We all love Fallout New Vegas, right? Most people who have played Fallout New Vegas find something to appreciate about it. It can be hard, it can be ugly to look at. I love everything about that game. Um, and to love a game like New Vegas, you have to embrace the jank. And so when you see some of the like little indie games, these little indie horror gems that Queso streams, especially like, think about them in those terms, right? Like, not every game has to look like, I don't know, Horizon Zero Dawn. Not every game has to be written by like Hollywood screenwriters or Tom Bissell, right? Like, sometimes a game is just made by a couple people in, whatever little podunk town somewhere, or meet a work of art on its terms once in a while, right? And like Queso is so good about that, He I, sometimes there's like maybe AI junk in it too, like AI voiceover and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of that, but like as far as like a handcrafted indie game that looks, a little janky, embrace it, right? So, point number 4. So, seek out games that you won't see advertised on TV or on a billboard, or, even the Xbox or PlayStation home screen, Look at itch.io, look at, maybe the Steam trending page or whatever, but like check off the beaten path and find these games that are kind of diamonds in the rough, right? And I think Queso is so good at finding games that nobody else is streaming, nobody else has ever streamed or heard of. Kill the Steam charts in your head, right? Kill the publishing executive in your heart, and stop thinking in terms of the triple A, Grand Theft Auto 6, FIFA, Call of Duty, whatever. Like, you know, those games are big, sure. They're like gonna get talked about, but like there's so much more out there. I've published Twine games, that I made in my free time for fun, that are just text on a screen that's hyperlinked with like branching dialogue, branching decision making, um, things like that. There's a lot of like really meaningful work out there done by all kinds of different people from different perspectives. Some of it you'll never see on Steam, you'll never see it on a console, but it's out there and it's playable, and it meant a lot to somebody. So stop obsessing over things like scale, fidelity, or content and world density. Okay. Like, not every game is going to live up to your sort of cyberpunk 2077 standards, or your Grand Theft Auto 6, the Grand Theft Auto 6 you built up in your head over the last, 13, 14 years. Meet a project on its terms. What is this game trying to achieve? Did it achieve it? If you're streaming or doing like YouTube coverage or commentary like this or whatever, and this is probably a whole other video, but choosing the right game is so difficult. It's such a can of worms. And I think that I really love that CaseO shows how you can find a big audience by going against the grain of what other people are covering or playing. Like, I follow so many streamers that I love watching, and like there are days where it's like the new Assassin's Creed came out, or the new whatever big shooter came out, Battlefield 6 or whatever the hot new thing is, or maybe a certain game is doing like a sponsorship marketing push. And like you see like all the streamers that you follow are all playing the same game, and like, with Queso, that's not usually going to be the case. And I think that that's very admirable. Like, I wish more streamers had and the big ones like that, like I wish they had the courage to say, I'm gonna just play what I want to play and not think about player count on Steam. There's so much talk with Destiny 2, the rise and fall of Destiny 2, and the player count being like 90,000 people playing a game that is quote unquote dead. And then other games that are not considered dead have like 400 people playing online, or what have you, right? Like, I wish we could just, yeah, kill the Steam charts in your head and just play what you want to play, right? I think it's easier said than done. I think that there is a sense of FOMO and wanting to kind of experience the new hotness when other people are really excited about a big new popular game like Mecha Chameleon right now. I mean, I'm playing and enjoying Mecha Chameleon too. But don't always think about what everybody else is doing, right? Like, um just play what you want to play. And if you find a game and nobody else is talking about it, nobody else is streaming about it, you can be the one to shout from the rooftops, I played this game, and I want to, I did that kind of with Whisker Squadron Survivor about 2 years ago. It's sort of like a roguelike Star Fox game. And like, I think people know about it to an extent, and it's been appreciated. People appreciate it. It's good. But it doesn't have like this massive cult like audience that like I don't think it did Mecha Chameleon numbers, okay? But I think you can always be out there doing that. I submitted Don't Sleep with the Fishes. I mean, Queso played that, so it got a big audience, but I submitted it to the Internet Game Database. It didn't even have an entry on there. It wasn't even a Twitch category when Queso was streaming it originally. So, be the person who advocates for a new small game that nobody's ever heard of. They could hear about it from you. You know, that's that, and that's what I love about Queso. He's helping you discover those games. And Don't Sleep with the Fishes is one of the best games of 2026, and I would have never heard of it if Queso hadn't streamed it.